All right, well, I want to try a little something different today. We've done some 3-minute takeaways. We've done some leadership series, some thought series. We haven't done a lot of Q&A. And so what I want to do is I've amassed this collection of questions from leaders that I've worked with. If you've got a question, you can always throw it in the comments. I would love to put it into this question bucket that I've been collecting. And I thought we'd take some videos and just go through different questions, because here's what I found. A lot of leaders have the same questions. So if I can give tools to these leaders and you could benefit from them, then it's a win-win-win. So today's question we're going to look at is from Sarah. Sarah says, what do I do when I don't feel like things are moving forward? That's a great question, Sarah, and a pretty common question. And the reason it's pretty common is because what people don't realize as they move up in leadership is the problems become more complex the higher you go. You know, what you could solve individually as a high performer in the organization, now you have to solve collectively as a leadership team, or getting multiple departments involved. And so that can lead to frustration. That could lead to you thinking, we're not making any forward progress. So to help with that, I often teach leaders something called the GROW method. And I got it from this book, Developing Coaching Skills. Many, many years ago, I was reading this book on a plane. It is by Dietmar Sternad, and it comes with great questions, great coaching models. And on page 29, he introduces the GROW model, which is very popular in coaching. I actually have each one of our new coaches read this book. It's clear, concise, and simple. Even if you're not a coach, I recommend this book for your leadership library. But I've kind of adapted the GROW model in helping leaders get momentum. How do they formulate a strategic plan? So I want to spend our video today going through that. So let me introduce you to the 4 letters, G-R-O-W, GROW. Now the G in GROW stands for goal. As a leader, you've got to ask yourself, what is it that I want to achieve? You're probably a little bit frustrated because you have a desired result you're looking to get, and you feel like things are in the way. You feel like it's moving slow. You feel like you're not moving towards where you thought you'd be at this point. So you might already have a goal. I do want you to remember, though, that a goal is specific, it's measurable, and it's time-bound. If it's not those things, it's probably not a goal. Might be closer to a New Year's resolution. But I want you to now have your goal and get it very clear. And then you're going to look at the R in GROW, which is reality. Reality. What's the current state? Where are we at? When we go measure what it is we want to achieve, what does right now look like? Now, when you find your reality and you have your goal, you're going to notice there's a gap there. It's probably the whole reason you're frustrated is because you don't feel the movement in that gap. I want you to identify the gap and get very clear on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Because once you have that gap identified, you can move to the O and W. The O in GROW is obstacles. You've got to identify what is standing in your way. What is keeping that gap in place? I like to think of 3 obstacles for every gap that I have. So if I've identified my goal, I've assessed the current metric, the reality that I'm looking at that is showing me I am not there, I like to think of 3 obstacles that are preventing me from moving forward. I like to write those out. And then I'm going to move to the W. I'm going to get a way forward. I'm going to have a plan in place in my mind to overcome the obstacles, to close the gap, and to get to the goal. GROW, goal, reality, obstacle, way forward. When you sit down and write that out, you start to formulate a plan that can help you get the precious momentum you need to feel like you're moving forward. One more thing I would tell you, Sarah, is you want to find out who you can work with to follow through on this. Remember, you could do things individually. Now you have to do things collectively. Who in your organization could you partner with to grow and get to that goal? I want you to think about that. Well, I hope that helps. When you don't feel like you have any forward momentum, that's a way that you can get a strategy to put in place quickly. And remember, you're never as bad as you look when you don't have momentum, and you're never as good as you look when you do have it. The value is in getting momentum. I'll see you tomorrow.